Hey, Bill. So, improvising is a funny thing because when you hear guys doing it that have been doing it for years and years and years, it can be baffling, right? It sounds like a lot. But starting out, as I did with the harmonica, as long as you reach for the correct harmonica, it's impossible to play the wrong note. So you can honk away, and you're at least doing something that may not be strictly speaking musical or melodic, or sound like, sentences, or sound like a Dave Gilmour solo or something like that, or John Coltrane or whoever you like. But the notes were correct. They matched, right? And sometimes when you hear soloists, you'll hear kind of that effect where they're Bob Dylan's a good example from a harmonica point of view, especially some of the early stuff where he's just honking away. It's the right harmonica. He's playing the right notes. So they harmonize with what's happening in the background. But is he saying anything? Well, those are kind of like levels. So the first thing is to just harmonize with the key that's going around. Jazz is difficult because sometimes it drifts in and out of keys and it has incidentals, which, it's a hell of a place to start. We should almost start you somewhere simpler than that. But what I've done is I've downloaded Mercy, Mercy, Mercy and transcribed it into G, and I've isolated just one little loop, and I have my trusty acoustic guitar here, just to demonstrate how when melody is going around, starting with a very simple backing track, right, as a starting point, and just adding one or two at the most notes during a turnaround can sound like it matches. And so there's some harmonizing principles here that are simple. One is you have to be playing in a way that shows some awareness of the time. You can be right on time with whatever's happening. Or you can play off of it. But in either way, you can kind of, like you see with guys like Eric Clapton and John Coltrane and different soloists, they'll sort of race ahead and behind, but there's always sort of like a contextual you can hear an awareness of the rhythm of the song. Let's not focus on that. So that's just one of the harmonization things. So like you're harmonizing with the notes because you're playing in the same key. So if we're going to be playing in G major, so your G major, you kind of know what those notes are. You probably have them staved out so you can practice. Wait. So you go up and down and up and down. And the thing to start to do first is kind of get yourself into for the key, get yourself in sort of like a harmonica mental state where you practice the key of G major in this case, right? So you could just go to wander up and down it and keep the time with what's being played, or just like play one note or two notes, but know that those notes are inside of the G major pattern that's being played. So I'm just going to play the loop here, and then I'm going to start by adding one note slowly, right? One note, and then maybe like my phrase is going to be literally one note, like one note samba. Remember that one? Okay, here we go. Let's just turn this on. Okay. Oh, we're not quite in tune. Hold on. It's not a solo, but it's not out of tune. So let me just go up my scale a little bit. 3 notes. notice I'm on the time. So there's two things that are happening here that makes this musical. It may not be lyrical quite yet, like it may not sound like a sentence or have like interesting phrasing, but that's not what we're doing at this level, right? We're just trying. First of all, it's like harmonization at the scale level. So the notes that you're playing, because you're playing G major, so if you're playing G major against that, it kind of goes with it because it's in that key. So that's the first goal, right? Then the second goal is as you're going up your scale, you're just trying to keep time. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's correct, right? Like it's now you're playing at like Neil Young level, right? So that's the next level. And then the final level is once you're kind of going up and down the scale on time and in harmony with the background track, then maybe you can start playing around to see if there are phrases, right? So I'm going to start by going up and down, just in time and in harmony. And then I'm going to just slow it down and see if there are phrases that I can play. Now phrase. So we got a little bit crazy there, but so we see the three levels. So the three levels of like melodic harmonization, we'll say. I don't know what the real terms are, but so you think, first of all, make sure you're in the right key, right? So we're in G major, so we're playing. Still out of tune. Then the second level is playing in time. Because once you can play in time, then you can occasionally, as you're getting good at phrasing and creating melodies and detecting sentences and little phrases you can say, you can be a little slow or a little fast to create tension. Or, you know, when you're talking, you're expressive. You say, there's a rhythm to the conversation. And if you go a little slower when you're talking to somebody, or speed up a little bit, create some tension around the thing, because contextually it's faster or it's slower based on the context of the conversation. It's the same thing with music. That's what we're responding to emotionally. So you hear the slow. I'll just start that again. I'll show you slow and fast against the same thing. obviously create tension when you kind of like hit the context, the main like rhythm. And that's the third step, where you show an awareness of the pace. Once you're comfortable with the melodic and the tempo harmonization, then you can create some contextual expression that is in and out, faster and slower, kind of with and outside of the principal ideas. I don't know how much help that is, but you can watch this again and let me know, and we can talk further. Good luck.